Mo telegola bien. Hey, nee, yow bàyyi dof dof gola bàyyi. Hey, bu ko non 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 ko jox ko. Yow wër nga. Doomu la rey leen ko jox sala bi. Ko comme nit la. Ko jox sala bi. Yow wër nga. Ah! Oh boy, matou o boy. Maro bossa. Billahi maro bossa.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Benny. 2024 is going to be the year of FAFO. People effed around in the last couple years, and now they're going to find out in this year. The precursor of all of these things were like Disney and Bud Light and Target last year, but now domino after domino after domino is falling in the year 2024, and justice is at hand. Alec Baldwin is charged seconds ago with involuntary manslaughter for the Rust shooting by a New Mexico grand jury. This is a big deal. New Mexico, of course, is a blue state that has leftist, far leftist prosecutors, and even they thought that Alec Baldwin, a darling of the left, deserved manslaughter charges in the state. Let's check it out. Alec Baldwin has been charged with involuntary manslaughter by a New Mexico grand jury 2 years after the accidental shooting of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins on the set of his ill-fated Western film titled Rust. The indictment was returned on Friday. Charges Baldwin with involuntary manslaughter on the grounds of negligent use of a firearm and discharged for others' safety. Previous charges had been dismissed. Baldwin has yet to comment. This is a breaking news story. This is the actual grand jury indictment. Let's go ahead and look. This is the grand jury indictment. You can see here Alexander Baldwin. Alexander Ray Baldwin. Middle name must be Ray. Didn't know that. This was returned literally seconds ago. Count 1, involuntary manslaughter. On or about October 21st, state of Mexico and Bonanza Creek Ranch located at this location, the above-named defendant the defendant caused the death of Halyna Hutchins in the commission of negligent use of firearm, an unlawful act which did not amount to a felony, fourth-degree felony, contrary, okay? Involuntary manslaughter without due caution or circumspection. On or about January 21st, on Santa Fe, so on and so forth, at the location, the above-named defendant, Alec Baldwin, did cause the death of Halyna Hutchins by an act committed by the total disregard and indifference to the safety of others, an act that was such an ordinary person would anticipate the death might occur under the circumstances. What do people say? What do the people say about Alec Baldwin on set? They say that it was sloppily run, that they were cutting corners, and that Alec Baldwin himself was using a firearm and pointing it directly at the camera and pulling the trigger. As you can see here in this footage directly from the horrible, ill-fated Halyna Hutchins. This is her footage, ladies and gentlemen. So when Alec Baldwin is saying that he never pulled the trigger and he never pointed a gun at anyone, well, he did, because you can see it right here. Words lie, people lie, footage, film, photographs. They do not lie. There is something so permanent about them. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we are now seeing, and this is what Alec Baldwin has been charged with. Various people on the film set has said that the film set, again, cut corners, and more importantly, sources that we talked to that's very, very close to the armorer on the film set, the person that was responsible for the weapons, told our show, we covered this maybe 2 years ago when this story was first breaking, told our show that the issue here was that the armorers were using live ammunition, because if you know anything about a firearm, and I know quite a bit, you can't fire a blank, right? You're supposed to be using blanks. But what our source told us was that live ammunition was being used during the breaks in filming for fun. And that they were so sloppy that they didn't replace the live ammo with blanks. So they were out in the desert. Bow, there's a lizard. Bow, there's a can. Bow. You know, shooting away with these guns. And that everything was so sloppy and Alec Baldwin was so lazy that not only did he pull the trigger, but he looked right down the barrel of the camera and did so. And that there was a live round in that camera, in that gun, in that firearm. This is, of course, what reporting has shown out and played out. Let's go ahead and watch Tucker Carlson's breakdown of this event as it happens.
About what happened that day. Fox's Trace Gallagher, as always, has the story for us tonight. Hey, Trace.
Hey, Tucker, all we have seen of this ABC Alec Baldwin interview is the tease video that ABC has provided us. But George Stephanopoulos, who conducted the interview, says Baldwin, quote, went through in detail what happened on set that day, which is interesting because Alec Baldwin has previously said because this is an active investigation, he was ordered by authorities not to say anything publicly about the shooting, and yet here he is. Plus, the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department says Alec Baldwin, quote, fired the gun. Now, Baldwin says he didn't. Watch.
It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger.
Hold on. Wait a second. So then how does the gun fire? Are you a firearms expert? I don't claim to be an expert, but I do own plenty of firearms, and I do fire them safely and at ranges and with nobody downrange. And I know for a fact that the firearm doesn't go off without the charge and a hammer and a pulling of the mechanism that drops that hammer. This just doesn't happen. So Alec Baldwin's lying.
Never.
Now, it's unclear if Baldwin goes on to offer some explanation as to how the gun discharged or whether Stephanopoulos pressed him on it, but he did ask about the bullet itself. Watch.
What did you think happened? How did a real bullet get on that set?
I have no idea. Someone put a live bullet in a gun, a bullet that wasn't even supposed to be on the property.
Now, the armorer on set was Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, who told investigators she loaded the gun with 5 dummy rounds, but there was a 6th round that would not go in, so she cleaned it and then added the 6th round. Gutierrez-Reed has also alleged through her lawyers this might be sabotage. And through all of this, remember that Baldwin is already the subject of a criminal investigation. He was also a producer on the movie, which has opened him up to lawsuits filed by crew members alleging negligence. Tucker.
Trace Gallagher, the best. Great to see
Again,
you.
precisely what's happened. Who warned us about all of this?
Alec Baldwin. He punched somebody out during a parking dispute. I wish him luck.
I wish him luck.
Is he going to get arrested?
I don't know. Look, he's been trouble from day one. He did the imitation of me for years. I thought he was terrible.
Imitate him.
Well, no, I thought it was just, that wouldn't be hard. I thought he did terrible. I thought he was terrible at it. They have other people that do much better, but he's always trouble. I mean, he takes a gun, he said he didn't pull the trigger, and then the experts get on and say it's not possible that that particular gun can, it doesn't work that way. In other words, it can't happen that it works where you don't pull the trigger and it just happens to go off, okay? I don't think that was a very good interview for him. I just say this, he's always trouble. He goes out to talk to the press. Nobody gets treated worse than me by the press, and I'm very hostile to them likewise. But I don't end up in fistfights with them on the street. I mean, this.
Which is exactly what happened just this past month. Alec Baldwin getting into attacks, screaming at people when he was caught outside of his, presumably his apartment or one of the properties he owns by a protester. And Alec Baldwin had to be held back by the police officers. You can see here playing on your screen. Had to be held back by police officers from like attacking a guy with a camera. I don't think he's a journalist, but he's just, he's just one of these shitlid protesters. But nonetheless, the guy's got a massive anger problem. When somebody asked Alec Baldwin about this shooting in the streets of New York, Alec Baldwin nearly beat them to death. Watch.
I have to ask you, what brings you to New York City?
I asked you to leave.
Mr. Baldwin, who's here?
I asked you to go away. Please go away.
The photograph under somebody's private home.
This is not anyone's private home. Are you?
Private home.
This is public property.
Go away.
Who's here? Did you really not pull the trigger?
There you go.
Do you believe it went off without you pulling the trigger?
So yeah, the first moment ever in firearm history where the gun just shoots itself, and the first moment ever in firearm history where the person who is a massive advocate against firearms and in favor of gun safety is the person who actually is the criminal. And now we know ladies and gentlemen. Now we know. The people have spoken. A jury of Alec Baldwin's peers have found him indicted. Now, so he will be now charged with these charges, involuntary manslaughter, two counts of involuntary manslaughter that caused the death of Hyanna Hutchins. No word as to how this will open up Alec Baldwin to further legal action, of course, by the family of the bereaved and so forth. But ladies and gentlemen, it's not good. The Trump curse continues. Alec Baldwin going down in flames here. Fox News, take it away with the breaking report.
Fox News alert. This breaking just moments ago. Alec Baldwin, the actor, has been indicted in New Mexico on 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter stemming from the shooting deaths on the Rust movie set. He's been indicted in New Mexico, 2 counts, involuntary manslaughter from that Rust movie set. We're starting to get some more details right now. Mercedes Colwin is joining us. Mercedes, what we're learning so far is that this grand jury has indicted him. This just happened today on an involuntary manslaughter charge. Remember, this goes back to 2021 on this fatal shooting during a rehearsal on the movie set in New Mexico. This obviously brings back and revives what has been a dormant case against this A-list actor. Your reaction?
It's great to be on with you, Sandra. It is not surprising. I mean, obviously there was a death involved in this shooting. There had been a lot of focus on whether or not Alec Baldwin actually acted recklessly, which is one of the underlying pinnings of an involuntary manslaughter charge. And when he was handed the gun and he didn't check the gun separately, except he just accepted the fact that that gun had no bullets in the chamber, and therefore it resulted in this fatal shooting. So it is not surprising the prosecutors have been pretty aggressive from the very beginning, especially when there's a death involved. And involuntary manslaughter doesn't mean that he intended to kill anyone. It was that he exhibited reckless conduct with respect to the handling of the gun that resulted in this fatal injury.
Hey, Mercedes, it's John here. It looked for a while that Baldwin was going to escape prosecution. And then the local authorities said, no, wait a minute. We've got a new analysis of the situation and the weapon as well. So we want to take this information and put it to a grand jury. Alec Baldwin had insisted that in the rehearsal that he pulled back the hammer of the pistol, but did not pull the trigger, that the gun just somehow went off. It would seem that authorities probably have disagreed with that.
Exactly right, John. And that is the pinpoint of this prosecution. He did make certain statements publicly that he never pulled the trigger. And then the ultimate question was this. If he didn't have his finger on the trigger, how could the gun have spontaneously fired? So obviously the prosecutors worked with some forensics to look at whether or not this particular gun could have discharged automatically without the pressure of a finger pushing the trigger. And it's obvious that they concluded that that's just not possible. And that's one of the reasons why they were able to convince the jury to at least indict him at this point.